When most people try to run multiple AI agents, they end up with chaos. Agents stepping on each other, duplicating work, asking the same question to 3 different places, or worse, never talking to each other at all, and operating like 11 islands instead of one team. There is one way to architect this correctly, and almost nobody is doing it right. My name is Andrew. I run 11 AI agents across 3 businesses, 2 of which are 7-figure companies. I've logged over 700 hours building inside OpenClaw at this point and took my AI agency to multiple 5 figures without hiring a single human employee. This is the OpenClaw Blueprint. This is video 7 of 8 in the OpenClaw Blueprint series, and today we are covering the multi-agent communication architecture, the setup that turns 11 individual agents into one coordinated operation. Quick question. Have you ever tried to run 2 agents on the same task and watched them duplicate the same work without realizing the other one was doing it? Yeah, that happened to me at the beginning. Now, have you also ever had an agent that was supposed to escalate to another agent and instead it just gave up or guessed because it had no idea how to actually reach the other agent? Of course you have. That's why you're watching this video. And have you ever wished your agents could talk to each other the way a real team does, instead of you having to be the middleman for every single handoff? That is the exact problem this video solves. It is not that your agents are incapable of coordinating, it is that nobody built them an actual place to coordinate in and taught them how to communicate with each other. Now here's the moment I figured this all out. Early on, I had Mercury working on one of my clients' businesses and Genghis Khan working on a separate build for me. Both of them needed information from Machiavelli at different times, but I had no architecture set up for how they should reach or communicate with each other. Now, to be clear, this was way before I had built the communication architecture I'm about to walk you through currently. So what happened was both agents would ping Machiavelli in whatever scattered way they could. Sometimes through a shared chat, sometimes by just waiting for me to relay it, and sometimes by just guessing and moving on. Mercury was waiting for direction that never came because the message got lost. Genghis was duplicating context because he had no idea Mercury had already asked the same question. And I was the one stuck in the middle, manually routing them and telling them how to communicate with each other, and that one person wanted to talk to the other. And here is why this gets expensive fast. Because if you're running 2 agents, you could babysit the routing sometimes. If you're running 11 like I am, you can't. You just don't have time. And every minute you spend manually relaying messages between agents is a minute the entire system is bottlenecked on you, which defeats the entire point of running agents in the first place. The system works when the agents handle their own coordination. The system fails when you become the switchboard. And I wasn't going to accept that. So I architected the multi-agent communication system that lives inside my Discord server with channels, escalation routes, and group chat rules that let my 11 agents coordinate without me completely. Once it was in place, I went from being the switchboard and the coordinator to being the actual boss and overseeing everything. Now, if you guys are getting value from this video, or you do get value from this video, and you want to be able to influence the content that I make on this channel, and you also want to be able to influence the talking points on the live streams I host every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, or you want to talk to me directly on the Telegram lives that I do inside of the Telegram channel, then you go ahead and click the link down in the description below. There's completely free. It's nothing to sell you in there. And if that's what you're interested in and you want that access, then the link is down in the description. Other than that, let's get back to the video. Now, most AI tutorials teach you or show you how to spawn multiple agents. They almost never show you how to make those agents actually function as a team. Coordination is the actual operating system. Real operators build coordination architecture before they build more agents. And the multi-agent communication system is exactly how I do it, and it's exactly what you're about to learn right now. Now, in this video, I am going to show you the exact Discord architecture I run across all 11 of my agents. And you could take from this video what I use and make it your own however you want. Your business is different, your agents do different things, the exact channels will probably look different, but the underlying principle is the same, which is every agent needs a defined place to talk and a defined chain of command, and rules for who gets pinged when. The structure is absolutely non-negotiable, but the specifics are yours to play with. So let me walk you through the channel architecture. Discord is the communication backbone. Inside Discord, there are 3 categories of channels: direct lines, operational channels, and escalation channels. Each one has a specific purpose and specific permissions. Category 1 is direct lines. These are private one-on-one channels between me and a single agent. Each agent has their own direct line. Mercury has hers, Genghis Khan has his, and Machiavelli has his. Nikola also has his own. The rule for direct lines is simple. They are private, okay? Only the agent and I can see what is in there. This is where I can give individual direction if needed, where the agent reports to me one-on-one, and where private context lives that other agents really don't need to see and would be noise to them. The reason this matters is that not every conversation needs to be public to the whole agent team. If I am giving Mercury context about a specific client situation, Genghis Khan does not need to see that. If I'm asking Machiavelli for strategic input on decisions, Mercury doesn't need that in her context either. Direct lines keep the noise out of agents who do not need to hear it. And just to be clear, I speak to Machiavelli and Genghis Khan specifically in Telegram, since they are the agents that I am utilizing the most to orchestrate and execute things for me. So I really don't use Discord's private lines for them at all. Category 2 is operational channels, okay? These are public channels where actual business operations happen. Any agent that needs visibility into a particular operation has access to that specific channel, okay? Now, for example, I have a client operations channel where Mercury posts client updates, where Victor handles contract statuses, and where Machiavelli can step in if something needs strategic input. All three agents can see the channel, and each one operates in their own lane. But the shared visibility means none of them duplicate each other's work that another agent has already handled. The rule for operational channels is a shared visibility and defined ownership. Every agent in the channel knows who owns what. Mercury owns client communications in my client's business, and Victor owns contracts. Nikola owns escalations. Nobody steps on anybody else, but everybody sees the operation and action. Now, I also want to make it clear that I have never have all of the agents in every channel. The only agents that need and have access to a specific operational channel are the agents that are in that specific business. Therefore, my agents for one client do not have permissions to see the operational channels for another client. There's absolutely no purpose, and that's just excess inside. Now, also, Machiavelli is in every channel as well. This was done at the beginning so that way he could see everything, but this was before I implemented Nikola as the CTO and all escalations went to him in the agent's escalation channel specifically. Category 3 is escalation channels. This is where things go when an agent cannot handle them alone, and it is the channel architecture that nobody, I mean nobody, is teaching right now. The most important escalation channel is the agent escalations channel, okay? This is where any agent posts when they hit a technical failure or a broken workflow. The channel is monitored by Nikola, my CTO agent. When something gets posted in there with that right tag, okay, Nikola picks it up, diagnoses the issue, and either fixes it or coordinates the fix. There is also a strategic escalation channel where most agents post when they hit something that needs judgment instead of technical work. Machiavelli monitors that channel, okay? Now, communication uncertainty, decision paralysis, anything that needs a CEO call rather than a technical fix, that gets handled there. This calls back to the differentiated escalation paths from video number 5, which if you missed that video, the link to the OpenClaw Blueprint series playlist is down in the description below, okay? But communication problems go to Machiavelli. Technical problems go to Nikola. Critical issues get reported to both. Each agent has a clear lane in the escalation system. Now, if you guys are enjoying this video and you're getting value and you want to communicate with me directly like others have, then go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter. The link is down in the description below. Again, that is where everybody goes to request DMs with me and communicate with me one-on-one there. So if you're wanting to communicate with me one-on-one about something, Twitter is where to do it. Links down in the description below for you to follow me. So the architecture is the structure. The rules are what makes the structure actually work. There are 5 group chat rules that govern how my agents communicate inside of this architecture. Skip any of these and the system falls apart. Rule 1 is every message in a group channel must mention the intended recipient with an @ sign. No exceptions. If Mercury is sending a message to Machiavelli inside an operational channel, the message starts with @Machiavelli. This is non-negotiable, okay? It's very important. And the reason this matters is without the mention, the receiving agent does not know the message is for them and no one will respond. They just see chatter and they scroll past or they just completely ignore it and the handoff fails. The @ mention is what turns a public message into a directed one within the channel. Rule number 2 is simple, and that is that no agent ever replies with no response to a direct mention. If they get tagged, they have to respond with substance. This is also red line number 1 from video number 5, and it shows up here because group communication is where the rule actually gets stress tested, okay? The reason this rule exists is if an agent ignores a mention, the sending agent has no idea whether the message was actually landed and they received it, so they resend it again, or they wait, or they escalate to me. All of which just completely break the system. The rule of always responding with substance is what keeps the conversation flowing without me having to trace every single silence. Rule 3 is when an agent passes work to another agent, they state the handoff specifically, not implicit, not implied, explicit. The format I use is handing off to @Genghis. Here is the context. Here's what I need from you. Here is the deadline, okay? The reason this rule matters is because implicit handoffs get dropped. The receiving agent does not know they are responsible for the next step. This is very simple. With explicit handoffs, the actual responsibility is documented in the channel, the sending agent has cleared their plate, and the receiving agent has clear instructions on what to do next. Now, rule number 4 is when an agent completes a handed off task, they report back on completion in the same channel. They tag the original sender, they confirm the work is done, and they note any caveats or follow-ups, okay? Now, this connects back to the transparency requirement from video number 4 and the lesson structure from video number 6, which again, if you've missed these videos, the link to the OpenClaw Blueprint series is down in the description below. Now, every handoff has a completion event. Every completion event is visible to me and to the relevant agents. Nothing falls through the cracks because nothing is invisible. Now, rule number 5 is when an agent is uncertain whether they should handle something themselves or pass it up the chain, they escalate. They don't guess. The escalation goes to Machiavelli for judgment calls, and it goes to Nicola for technical questions or anything that is broken in their workflow. And the escalation comes with full context about what they were doing, why they hit the uncertainty or roadblock, and what they think the right path is. Now, let me show you exactly how to set this up, because the architecture without enforcement is just a diagram. Also, you can have your agent set this up for you. Just feed this video to your agent, tell them you want the multi-agent communication architecture implemented into their AGENTS.md file, and it will get done. Most of the structural work I'm about to walk through right now, your agent can do for you in about 5 minutes. Now, the communication architecture lives in your AGENTS.md file. Same workspace operating system file we have been building across the series. The red lines from video 5 are in there. The post-compaction reload from video 3 is in there. And now the multi-agent communication rules go right next to them. Now, the header for this section, like everything else we covered in AGENTS.md, must be an H2 header, okay? That is 2 $ followed by communication architecture with the same hardwired non-negotiable framing, okay? Again, I'm gonna state this as I do in every video, the wrong header level, and the section will go completely ignored at the reload time. Under the H2, 3 subsections live. Subsection 1 is the channel registry. This lists every channel the agent has access to, what type of channel it is, who else is in it, and what kinds of messages belong there. The agent reads this every session so it knows where to post what. Subsection 2 is the group chat rules, okay? The 5 rules I just walked through mention the recipient, never reply with no response, state the handoff explicitly, report back on completion, escalate when uncertain, all of that goes there. And then subsection number 3 is the escalation routing, okay? Which agent handles which type of escalation? Communication uncertainty goes to Machiavelli. Technical failures go to Nicola. Critical issues get tagged to both. This piece is what makes the differentiated escalation paths actually function across the team. Now, also I want to mention that I do have some communication rules inside of the skill.mds for the agent's workflows, okay? And that is important to note as well, because that is what is going to prompt the agents to actually go ahead and start the communication process with whoever they need to when this comes and when this stuff happens. Now, here is the most operational nuance most tutorials miss. New agents do not get full communication access on day 1. Okay, when I add a new agent to my operation, they start with restricted channel access, direct line with me, Machiavelli, or anybody else I see fit, read access on the most relevant operational channels, no posting privileges in the escalation channels just yet. depending on the situation, of course. As the agent demonstrates consistent execution and proves they understand the rules, I expand their access. Posting privileges in the operational channels, then escalation rights, then read access to broader context. Each expansion gets noted in the agent's own skill.md file with the date and the reason, okay? This is the same pattern I covered with Redline 10 in video 5. New gets restricted, proven gets autonomous. It applies to communication architecture just like it applies to client-facing actions. I will also say that, of course, there are times that I break this rule, okay? And I have the agent communicate off of the rip, and I will put the communication guidance and direction into their workflows if it's absolutely necessary, okay? More so in the beginning I did this, but now I have this down to a science, so I know what to put in the workflows when something needs to be escalated, who it needs to be escalated to, what channel it needs to go to, etc., etc. Now, the biggest mistake that most people make with multi-agent communication is they build the architecture but never enforce the rules. They set up the channels, they write the @mention rule, and then they let their agent start ignoring it. Once one agent breaks a rule, nothing happens. The rest stop following it too. The architecture only works if every rule fires every single time. Inconsistent enforcement is worse than no architecture at all. Now, once I locked the communication architecture in across all 11 agents, the entire operation stopped feeling like 11 agents and started feeling like one team. Mercury and Victor coordinate on client handoffs without me touching the conversation. Genghis Khan posts build updates to the right channel, and Machiavelli reads them in real time. The duplicated work issue went away almost completely. Obviously, nothing is perfect, and edge cases do indeed happen, but the day-to-day duplication that was eating my time before is close to zero now, to be honest. And the time I used to spend manually relaying messages and coordinating everything between agents has been redirected entirely into growth work. Also, because of this, I don't have to solve any problems anymore, okay? They just escalate to Nicola or to Machiavelli, and they solve them themselves. Like, things get done without me even having to be there, and that is what we're doing this all for in the first place, right? Now, for you, that means agents that actually function as a team instead of a collection of individual tools. It means handoffs that complete cleanly without you in the middle. It means escalations that route to the right agent the first time. And the bigger your operation gets, the more this matters. Because at scale, communication architecture is the difference between an operation that runs itself and an operation that runs your entire day. And right now, most operators are still spawning agents and hoping they figure out how to coordinate and communicate. The ones who are also building the communication architecture are the ones whose operations actually scale past 3 or 4 agents without breaking and causing headaches. You need to decide which side you're going to end up on. So now you have the multi-agent communication architecture. You know the 3 channel categories. You know the 5 group chat rules. You know how to enforce the system through AGENTS.md. You know how new agents earn their way into broader access. We are at video 7 of 8. 1 video left in the OpenClaw Blueprint series. In video 8, I am breaking down the model strategy, how I decide which agent runs on Opus 4.7, which one runs on Sonnet 4.6, or ChatGPT 5.4 or whatever, and how I think about cost versus capability across an 11-agent operation. This is the file that determines what you spend per month on agent infrastructure and what kind of work each agent is actually capable of. If video 7 is about how agents communicate, video 8 is about which model each agent uses and why. If you missed any of the previous videos, you need to watch them first. This series does compound, and each video makes the next one much more powerful. The link to the playlist is down in the description below. Now, 3 things I need from you. 1, I need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I need you to hit that bell notification. That way you're notified whenever I upload a video on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, or I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Second is, if you want to influence the type of content that I put on here, the type of talking points I have on the live streams, or you want to speak with me directly in the Telegram lives that I host on a weekly basis, then you need to go ahead and click the link down in the description below to join the Telegram. It is completely free. I have absolutely nothing to sell you in there, and you're only going to get value. Number 3 is go ahead and follow me on Twitter. The link is down in the description below because that is going to be the best way to reach me directly. This is the OpenClaw Blueprint series, and I will see you in video number 8.